Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 44, The Danger from the USB. Komaeda Nagito thought for a moment, then put away the USB. If it were an ordinary person, they might simply think they had picked up the wrong USB by mistake. It would be a shame that they couldn't recover the files from their previous USB, but since this one could still be used and the contents weren't crucial, they could temporarily make use of it, maybe even put up a lost item notice, though the chance of finding the original owner would be quite slim. But for Komaeda Nagito, his first reaction was that something was wrong with this USB. After all, if it was simply misfortune, it would have just made him lose it outright. Why make him pick up the wrong one? He planned to go back and study the contents a bit. Of course, casually examining a strange USB might bring danger. Isn't this kind of plot often seen in movies? Did you look at it? If you look, you'll die. But in reality, if it truly gets to the level of needing to kill someone to keep them quiet, whether complicit or ignorant, sometimes the difference isn't that great. Whether you actually looked at it or not, by that point, the other party's attitude tends to lean towards silencing witnesses. As for whether you'll actually die or not, it doesn't depend on whether you looked at it, but rather on how difficult it is to silence you. Komaeda Nagito, in any case, wasn't really afraid of danger. Instead, he was somewhat looking forward to it. What he was truly worried about was that his luck might bring him a reversal scenario, making him anticipate something extraordinary, only to end up with a plain USB. After storing the USB away, Komaeda Nagito and the agent quickly had dinner, and then headed to that inauspicious house. Komaeda Nagito was actually quite pleased with the house. Everything, from the road leading to it, the decorations, and even the layout, suited his preferences well. Although it was a bit spacious, the owner urgently wanted to get rid of it due to haunted rumors, so the price was considerably lowered. The police are always coming and going out front. The owner must be so annoyed it's killing him, the agent sighed. If you're buying it outright, the price could actually drop a bit more. Komaeda Nagito said decisively, this house it is. Although he bought it decisively, the procedures were quite cumbersome, making it impossible to move in right away. There was also cleaning and other matters, which would take at least half a month to settle before anyone could live there. So, after signing the contract and paying the deposit, the agent drove Komaeda Nagito back to the hotel, stating they would keep in touch. After finally managing to sell the ominous house, the agent felt very pleased. Komaeda Nagito was also in a very good mood. He had sent a text to Kudo Shinichi, freeing him from having to keeping eyes on available houses. Afterwards, he turned on his computer and plugged in the USB. Komaeda Nagito then discovered that the USB was encrypted and required a password. He tried relying on his luck by randomly entering something a few times, but it always failed. Knowing his luck wasn't good today, he promptly gave up. It's not like he urgently needed to know what was inside. If it was truly important, someone would likely send out a lost item notice. With this kind of strange and suspicious stuff, he'd rather not actively report the lost item. He'd take his time dealing with it instead. Giving up, Komaeda Nagito shifted his gaze toward the package that the front desk had given him upon his return to the hotel. He looked at the sender and saw it was someone unfamiliar, with no return address. It had likely been delivered directly to the hotel. Curiously, he began to unwrap the package. Inside was a small medicine box containing some painkillers, cold medicine, adhesive bandages, antiseptic solution, and other items. Komaeda Nagito immediately knew it had been sent to him by his mentor, Natsume Soseki. Talking about painkillers, why are there so many other things? Could it be that, in Natsume-sensei's perception, he's someone who gets hurt often? Recalling the last time he saw Natsume-sensei, Komaeda Nagito suspected there were still cat claw marks on his face. He glanced at the fresh burn on his hand. Komaeda Nagito couldn't help but fall into silence. There's no way to refute it. This is his teacher's good intention, and he will make good use of it. That night, after finishing his homework, Komaeda Nagito took a painkiller, transitioning from a completely abnormal hyperthymesia state to reminiscing about crime and punishment. Hopefully, Just as Natsume-sensei said, the medicine will have no after effects. It feels pretty good to use, and as someone afraid of pain, Komaeda Nagito gives it a 5-star rating. Amid the busyness, the strange USB that Komaeda Nagito had casually picked up no longer attracted his attention. He would probably only try the password again when he thought of it. However, while Komaeda Nagito didn't take the USB to heart, the person who lost it was desperately anxious. It's over, it's over, it's over. A young man, who looked like he had just graduated, searched back and forth along today's route for several hours. Finally, as the last bus was about to leave, he had to accept reality. I actually lost the USB. What do I do now? I sent my resume to 50 companies, only one let me interview, and I finally found a job. He knelt on the ground, looking up at the sky with a sigh, his hair already ruffled into a bird's nest from anxiety. At this time, there was nothing left on the road, no people, only him, sitting alone, dejected, mumbling beside the sidewalk. The contents won't be seen, right? I set a password. If someone saw it, would I have to silence them? Why did I do something like this? Why did I finally get a job offer only for it to involve this? The company appears ordinary, but in reality, it is modeled after foreign organizations to establish a murder-for-hire company called Murder Inc. When he accepted the job, he was completely unaware of the truth. As an ordinary person with common morals, he couldn't quit even after realizing what he'd gotten into, fearing he might be silenced. A new colleague who joined with him once said he wanted to report the company, and just a few days later, he turned up dead, reportedly a suicide. How could it possibly be a suicide? No doubt, it was the company that killed him. The company's outward image is that of a lawful organization, but in reality, it's a hellish operation. After seeing the corpse of a colleague who wanted to report them, the newbie finally realized the truth and considered reporting it as an absolute last resort. But the documents on that USB, if discovered, he'd be destroyed. If the company learned he lost it, he might not survive even without police involvement. This outcome would be no different from reporting them. The newbie sat in misery, thoughts of death filling his mind. Ever since joining this murder-for-hire company, he'd learned about all sorts of terrifying ways to die. Now, that knowledge only made his fear worse. If I want a solution, it can be done, he muttered, searching online, lost important company document, what to do now? Hire a detective. I wonder if I have enough clues. There are no cameras here either. What privacy protection? Can privacy be more important than my life? Sob sob. Just then, a stray dog walked past. At first, the newbie didn't react. But as the dog moved further away, he suddenly realized something. Wait, that thing in the dog's mouth, the color. Could it be my USB? Ecstatic, he chased after the dog. Wait for me, After countless hardships, he finally snatched the USB from the dog's mouth under the strange looks of passers-by. That's right. This color, this card, this sticker. Where's the sticker? The newbie paused. Had the dog licked it off? Could it really be such a coincidence that there was another USB exactly like his, lost here? Holding on to hope, he plugged the USB into his computer. But humans should never hope for luck. The contents felt completely unfamiliar, just one glance and he knew it wasn't his. But just in case, what if the USB's owner also picked up the wrong one? His own might still be out there. He clicked on a document and found everything was related to a detective named Edogawa Ranpo. The newbie broke into a cold sweat. Could the USB's owner be a detective? What if they had strong investigative abilities and already cracked the password? Should he just give it back to the dog and pretend nothing happened? Wait, no. If the owner really is a detective, then he must retrieve the USB. Otherwise, even if the company collapses, they'll still come after him, the main culprit. Fortunately, the following documents looked relatively normal, school assignments. A quick look revealed they were from a junior high school. The newbie finally sighed in relief. Just a regular student, huh? That's good. After searching some more, he found the name, Komaida Nagito, Baika Junior High School. He felt confident. Alright, I'll take sick leave tomorrow. Then I'll go to the school and corner him. The next day, Komaida Nagito went to school as usual. When Kudo Shinichi asked Komaida Nagito if he found a house, he mentioned finding a strange USB. It doesn't necessarily mean the content is dangerous, Kudo Shinichi said vaguely. It could just be that they simply don't want others, like their parents, to see the content. The encryption method can easily be looked up online. Yes, that's also possible, Komaida Nagito said with a cheerful smile. Recently, too many things have been happening, and I'm feeling a bit jittery. Let's not talk about this. Let's continue discussing that house you bought. Kudo Shinichi's expression became a bit more focused. Because it's very close to my place, just down the same street, I heard quite a bit. The one who broke into the house, even killed someone inside, seemed to be related to the underworld. Komaida Nagito let out a sigh. It feels like he's been dealing with the underworld a lot lately. Even though the Japanese mafia is legal, it shouldn't be this prevalent, right? Dazaikuen, the port mafia, that Japanese police undercover infiltrating the liquor factory, and even his newly bought house. It hasn't even been a month yet, but if it continues like this for another year, will he end up gathering all of Japan's underworld? In another world, even if there were an ultimate Yakuza classmate with underworld connections, it's not as prevalent as this. This world is truly strange. Kudo Shinichi continued speaking. Based on the situation at the scene, it appears that the victim searched everywhere in the room before he died. Because of this, the police also investigated the house's owner, suspecting some kind of connection to the deceased. However, no matter how they checked, the owner was completely innocent. Komaida Nagito mused. It is suspicious. Could it be that he wasn't looking for something, but rather hiding something? As expected, Senpai also thinks the same, Kudo Shinichi smiled. Actually, I also think that might be the case, but the police couldn't find anything when investigating in that direction, and in the end, nothing was resolved, and the culprit wasn't caught. Komaida Nagito sighed. As long as I can stay peacefully, that will be enough. Kudo Shinichi agreed. But 1 week of time is not enough. Senpai will soon have to move out of the hotel. The most suitable option is still staying at my house, right? After all, that house is close by, and it's a chance to familiarize yourself with the route to school. Besides, last time when I helped find a place, it ended up not making you happy, and I even received a reward, which made me feel really embarrassed, so give me a chance to make it up to you. Well, at this point, there's no point in looking for another hotel. Komaida Nagito recalled his various failures and let out a bitter smile. In the end, I still have to trouble Kudo-kun. You've really helped me a lot, and I don't know how to thank you. Kudo Shinichi decisively coughed to interrupt him. I haven't really helped much. But since Senpai's house is there, I want to go in and take a look at the scene. Maybe there's something to discover. Well, even though it's already been cleaned, there probably won't be anything left, but just in case. No problem, Komaida Nagito readily agreed. School activities are relatively uneventful, but if there's anything special about today, it would be that the Tokyo Fire Prevention Department and the Education Department have collaborated to conduct fire safety education in schools, and it's finally Baika Junior High School's turn. Komaida Nagito actually ran into someone he knew. Oh, Komaida-kun. Hagiwara Kenji patted Masuda Jinpei's shoulder. In the corridor, female students of Baika Junior High School had stars in their eyes as they glanced over. Smiling, he greeted Komaida Nagito, long time no see. Komaida Nagito also smiled and responded, long time no see, Inspector Hagiwara, Inspector Masuda. Are you both here as part of the fire safety education team? Something like that. But I clearly remember you are from the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Team of the Metropolitan Police Mobile Unit. Shouldn't it be the fire prevention team people coming? It really doesn't feel like it's reliable. Actually, we were on break, and while passing by, we saw some friends from the fire prevention team. We heard the destination this time was Baika Junior High School, so we took the opportunity to come over, help them out a bit, and also drop by to see you. Hagiwara Kenji looked at the bandages on Komaeda Nagito's hands, as well as the high pile of exercise books. Where are these going? Let me help you. In your condition, your teacher still makes you move all this? Ha ha ha, it was me who volunteered. After all, this is all I can do, just small tasks. Komaeda Nagito noticed that Hagiwara Kenji wordlessly took half, and Masuda Jinpei also took the remaining half without saying a word, so he quickly said, I can do it myself, no need to trouble you too. Alright, lead the way and stop talking so much, Masuda Jinpei said impatiently. The two of us don't know the way. Thus, Komaeda Nagito obediently led the two, and when the teacher's office saw two handsome guys helping to carry the assignments, they were stunned. They originally wanted to say something, but seeing Masuda Jinpei still wearing sunglasses indoors with a look that said he wasn't to be messed with, they could only dryly say thank you. Hagiwara Kenji skillfully mediated, then took Komaeda Nagito and Masuda Jinpei to the office. Using the excuse of helping Komaeda Nagito change his medicine, they borrowed the infirmary, and the nurse also cooperatively said that they were going to find a colleague for lunch, leaving the space to them. Komaeda-kun. Hagiwara Kenji roughly checked Komaeda Nagito's injuries, and after confirming that nothing was serious, he breathed a sigh of relief. Your physical condition during incidents like this is really more alarming each time. The burns aren't serious, Komaeda Nagito explained. He's not talking about the burns, forget it. Masuda Jinpei clicked his tongue, continuing to check the security level of the infirmary. This would determine whether their topic could become even more in-depth later on. A few days ago, Morofushi Hiromitsu, who had been missing for many years, finally made contact with them using an unfamiliar phone number. They actually guessed that the reason they hadn't heard from him since graduation and couldn't find him might be because he was working undercover. Therefore, they didn't ask much about his job, only about his well-being and when he might return. For questions that couldn't be answered, Morofushi Hiromitsu responded vaguely. However, he did tell them one thing, that on Friday, when they called Komaeda Nagito, he was there listening in. After that, he said he currently didn't have the means, and asked the two of them to keep an eye on Komaeda Nagito, not too obviously, just slightly more frequently than before, as the kid worries him. Hagiwara Kenji and Masuda Jinpei calculated, feeling that the timing was so coincidental. Morofushi Hiromitsu is no longer undercover, yet somehow got involved with Komaeda Nagito, and even asked them to look after Komaeda Nagito. Seeing this attitude, it seemed as if their old colleague had encountered some danger, and that miraculous luck of Komaeda Nagito might even help save their old colleague altogether. Their hearts almost stopped hearing this. They don't understand why Komaeda Nagito, this kid, always ended up surrounded by all kinds of dangers. However, today they really weren't here specifically to see Komaeda Nagito. Just like they explained earlier, it was truly just a coincidence. They came to help and conveniently checked on Komaeda Nagito. Fire prevention isn't only about fires, Hagiwara Kenji found an excuse. Teaching ordinary citizens to identify dangerous items and promptly report them is also essential. In this aspect, we are experts. Masuda Jinpei rolled his eyes under the sunglasses. Bomb disposal expert, there's no need to be so detailed about telling kids to stay away from dangerous objects, close enough is fine. Frankly, you're just here to watch the fun, and no one is going to say anything to you about it. Ha ha ha, your relationship is still as good as ever, huh? Komaeda Nagito intervened. Actually, I know, you guys want to ask about that person from Friday, right? Hagiwara Kenji and Masuda Jinpei withdrew their casual demeanor, exchanged glances, and then looked at Komaeda Nagito. He said you two were his classmates, Komaeda Nagito said. But beyond that, there's not much more I can say, just that he's doing really well right now. Honestly, as his classmates, it's easier for you to be in touch with him than me. Because on his side, there are also a lot of things he can't say, and he's unwilling to talk. We can't get through to him one-sidedly either. Masuda Jinpei pouted. I'll just ask one question. If it doesn't touch on confidentiality, just tell us, at the time of your meeting, was he in danger or not? Komaeda Nagito nodded. Masuda Jinpei put his hand to his forehead with a, "I knew it," expression. Hagiwara Kenji said, "Let's leave it at that, we won't ask further. If you encounter a similar situation in the future, make protecting yourself the priority, don't be reckless, and you can also give us a call." Masuda Jinpei yawned on the side, his mind unusually clear. Morofushi Hiromitsu said that for now, he wouldn't return to the Metropolitan Police Department, his identity remains non-existent. Could it be that the danger comes from within the Metropolitan Police Department itself? The fact that he contacted them might not simply be to assure them of his safety. Although his questions were well crafted, the way his topics mainly revolved around Komaeda Nagito was still too obvious, and he asked for details. If it wasn't Morofushi Hiromitsu asking, they would have already lost patience and changed the subject, not to mention that, even without a legitimate reason from higher-ups, they wouldn't consider cooperating 100%. So, is Morofushi Hiromitsu currently in a department investigating Komaeda Nagito? Afterward, telling them to take good care of Komaeda Nagito was implying that Komaeda Nagito himself wasn't a problem, so they could rest assured. Which department is Morofushi Hiromitsu in now? Could it be the National Police Agency? Masuda Jinpei's guess was correct, because the one whose undercover identity was exposed was the Metropolitan Police Department's Morofushi Hiromitsu, while the National Police Agency's Furuya Rei remained safe, so they concluded that there was an issue within the Metropolitan Police Department, and temporarily placed Morofushi Hiromitsu under the protection of a secret division of the National Police Agency. Morofushi Hiromitsu caught up just in time when Natsume Soseki suddenly wanted detailed information on Komaeda Nagito, and found out that Hagiwara Kenji and Masuda Jinpei had contact with Komaeda Nagito. He decided to use Morofushi Hiromitsu, who was supposed to have vanished from the human world, to inquire for some details under the guise of being a friend. There were many things that the person involved didn't say, and the investigators couldn't find out either. As repayment for Morofushi Hiromitsu's risks, and under Natsume Soseki's instigation, the Special Division over there provided technical support, using the ability of an ability user to wash away any traces that could lead someone to Morofushi Hiromitsu. Because Komaeda Nagito's luck is truly extraordinary, the Special Division intentionally investigated thoroughly, which led some to be curious and check Komaeda Nagito's records. The Special Division had no suspicions at all, and only Director Tanida knew a bit. The Japanese National Police Agency's secret department received information regarding the investigation of Komaeda Nagito, but they also believed it was merely a routine check related to rescuing an undercover agent, and similarly had no suspicions. Two major secret government organizations, just like that, handled the transfer of documents for Komaeda Nagito without raising any suspicion except for Director Tanida, who noticed something was off. Everyone else found it completely normal, even Natsume Soseki had no knowledge of anything related to this matter. For now, apart from Natsume Soseki and Komaeda Nagito himself, no one knows about their teacher-student relationship, a secret that Natsume Soseki has protected very well. Even intel providers Hagiwara Kenji and Masuda Jinpei just thought that Komaeda Nagito was involved in a dangerous situation, specifically due to his undercover classmates. After assessing the situation, it felt like there were no issues, and they could be completely at ease. They chatted in the infirmary for the whole noon, even having lunch there. Then, the two policemen, who had mixed business with personal matters, were dragged away by friends from the Fire Prevention Department, asking for their help to prepare for the afternoon's fire prevention lecture and drill. By the time they finally wrapped up the fire safety education in the afternoon, it was already time for dismissal. Komaeda Nagito had just left the school gate when he saw Hagiwara Kenji standing next to the fire truck, waving at him to say goodbye. Since Mori Rang and Suzuki Sonoko had plans, today only Kudo Shinichi and Komaeda Nagito were heading home together after leaving the school gate. Seeing someone on the other side greeting Komaeda Nagito, Kudo Shinichi asked. "Komaeda-senpai, is that a firefighter?" "No, it's a police officer," Komaeda Nagito explained. "I got to know him a few years ago, we're quite familiar." "I see." Kudo Shinichi's peripheral vision suddenly caught something. He instinctively turned his head to look and noticed a young man in a suit hurrying away. Strange, he didn't seem to be here to pick up a child, nor did he seem to be just passing by. Quite suspicious. The suspicious person quickly turned the corner, left through the school gate, and leaned against the wall, gasping with a look of fright. Unexpectedly coincidental, he happened to meet that Komaeda Nagito, who looked exactly the same as in the news photo, but why would he know the police? Could it be that he found something out? He didn't dare to approach. The police are still right there. If there really was an issue, the other party wouldn't even need to call the emergency number, just a single word and he'd be thrown in jail. No, I need to think of another way. Follow him a bit, see where Komaeda Nagito is going. Chapter 44 End.